You've got Bonaire questions?
We've got answers.
And we've got them right now. Hey folks, Liz and Kevin here. We're out on beautiful Klein Bonaire, having just a fantastic time, having a great trip to Bonaire right now. But made us think about some of those frequently asked questions for those who visit Bonaire. And these are questions that everybody asks. These are not diver specific. There may be a few, but there are questions when I look at places like TripAdvisor and different Facebook groups that are always asked the same questions time and again. And these are also questions that people ask us personally. So we thought we'd put together a video where we answer those questions for you. This potentially could be a longer video. So what we'll probably do is somewhere in the either comments or in the description video of the video is we'll timestamp each individual question or group them together with the timestamp. So if you're just looking for a particular subject, you can go straight there. We certainly hope you watch the entire video because there will be a lot of information in here. But once again, these are questions that are asked so often that wanted to put together a video for you so we can get them answered.
But for right now, it's hot and we've got a beautiful ocean behind us, so we're gonna take a dip and answer your questions when we get back home to our air conditioning.
So stick with us, we'll be right back. Hey folks, we forgot to mention something. This video is all about the frequently asked questions about vacationing and traveling to Bonaire. If you have questions specifically about shore diving Bonaire, we've got an entirely different video all about that, the shore diving FAQs for Bonaire. I'll link that video right up here, as well as pin it to the end of this video. So once again, if you've got questions about shore diving Bonaire, after you watch this video, go to that video and you can learn everything you need to know about shore diving Bonaire. Now let's get back to those frequently asked questions.
Where is Bonaire located? Bonaire is located approximately 50 miles north of Venezuela and 40 miles east of Curacao. It's the B in the ABC Islands. What is the population of Bonaire? Bonaire's population is around 24,000 people.
What languages are spoken on Bonaire? The official languages spoken on Bonaire are Dutch and Papiamentu. English is also widely spoken throughout the island. I've never had a problem communicating on Bonaire, even with my southern accent.
Do I need a passport when I come to Bonaire? Yes, all visitors need a valid passport from their home country and it must remain valid throughout their stay.
What entry fees and/or taxes need to be paid to visit Bonaire? There's a tourism tax that needs to be paid prior to entry. For non-residents 13 years and older, it's $75. For non-residents 12 years old and younger, it's only $10. For all residents of the former Netherland Antilles, St. Martin, St. Eustatius, or Statia, Saba, Curacao, and Aruba, it's only $10. I'll put the official website for paying the tax somewhere here on the screen. Be aware though that there are third-party sites that allow you to pay the tax, but they also charge you more and they charge you fees, so make sure you use the official site that we're going to link on the screen. I'll also put it in the description of the video. After you pay, you'll receive a QR code for your phone. I recommend you also print a copy of the code, if not two, because you'll be asked to show that QR code upon entry to Bonaire there at the airport. And just FYI, American Express is not accepted when paying the entry tax. What is the marine park fee and who has to pay it? The marine park or nature fee is $40 and it must be paid by anyone who plans to enter the ocean. Children under age 13 are exempt unless they are scuba diving. This fee allows entry into Washington Park as well, which is awesome. So make sure when you print the QR code after you pay your fee, you put that in the glove compartment of your rental car. The fees are different for cruise ship passengers and I think are changing again in 2024, so check with your cruise line if you're arriving on a cruise ship. FYI, American Express is not accepted when paying the nature fee.
What currency is used on Bonaire? The official currency is the US dollar. Do you need cash, credit cards, or both? We use both. Credit cards are widely accepted throughout the island, but sometimes cash is easier for out-of-the-way places. Some of the food trucks also only accept cash. It's also preferred when tipping dive and excursion guides. And just a heads up on credit cards, a lot of places don't accept Amex, so make sure that you bring a Visa or MasterCard with you too.
Are there ATMs on Bonaire? Yes, there are multiple ATMs around Bonaire. The website infobonaire.com has a nice list of the the A couple of easy ones to find. There are two on Playa Grande, which is one street back from the waterfront in Crollandike, there's a Banco Caribe location with an ATM out front, as well as Tourism Bonaire, the tourism office, has an ATM right outside their front door, so that's going to be the easiest to find. Also, Van den Twil, the grocery store, has an ATM. What time zone is Bonaire? Bonaire is Atlantic Standard Time, which is 4 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time and 1 hour ahead of Eastern Standard Time. Bonaire does not recognize daylight savings time, so summer travelers from the east coast of the United States will have no difference in time.
What is the weather like on Bonaire? So daytime temperatures are usually in the mid to upper 80s, sometimes 90s. The nighttime is usually in the upper 70s, low 80s. It's sunny most of the time. It's windy. Occasionally there's some rain. There's sometimes some heavy rain in late October and November. What's the best time of year to visit? Really, any time. The winds die down a little bit in September and October, so the heat and humidity can be a little bit more oppressive, but the water's going to be warmer, especially when you're diving. So it really depends on what you're into. The water's going to be cooler in the springtime months. It might be a little bit chilly, but all in all, there's not a bad time to visit.
Is trip insurance required to travel to Bonaire? No, it's not required for travel to Bonaire, but in a post-COVID world, it's never a bad idea. Liz and I had never purchased trip insurance for our trips here prior to COVID. Now we purchase it every time.
Are any vaccines required for travel to Bonaire? No vaccines are required for entry on the island, but you may want to check with your State Department to see if there are any that are recommended by your home country.
Is Bonaire safe? Yes, in general, Bonaire is very safe. It's not known for violent crime against visitors like some other Caribbean islands, but I'm sure like anywhere in the world it can happen. I personally have never felt unsafe on Bonaire and have been all over the island at all times of day and night. With that said, petty theft can be an issue, especially at dive sites where vehicles are left unattended for hours at a time.
What's the emergency number for Bonaire? 911.
Is Bonaire tap water safe to drink? Yes, it's perfectly safe to drink. It's distilled from seawater and meets the highest quality standards of the World Health Organization. So bring your refillable water bottle and leave the single-use plastic bottles at home.
Are there all-inclusive resorts on Bonaire? Not really. Definitely not like the ones you'll find in places like Cancun or Jamaica. Some resorts might offer a meal plan for their on-site restaurant, but with so many great food options, we really recommend not getting a resort meal plan.
What type of electrical outlets are there on Bonaire, or do I need an adapter or a converter? First, I'm not an electrician. What I do know is this. Bonaire is unique in that the default power from outlets is 127 volts. This is a bit different than what both US and European appliances use. For many things though, that's not an issue. But Liz and I, we use a converter anyway, just to be safe. You'll find both 3-prong US style outlets as well as the 2-prong round European type outlets throughout Bonaire. It'll be different depending on where you are, so check with your hotel or rental villa to find out what you'll have where you're staying. Should I rent a car on Bonaire? Yes, absolutely. You need a vehicle to get all around this wonderful island. Better yet, rent a truck so you can put your wet things in the truck bed when you're done with them and not get them inside and get your car all stinky after a week. It will also allow you to visit Washington Park, which is a must-do. Should I purchase the extra car rental insurance when I rent a car on Bonaire? It's not required, but it's not a bad idea. Many credit cards offer rental car coverage, and most Bonaire agencies allow you to waive their additional coverage. If you plan on using your credit card coverage, though, make sure they cover pickup trucks if you're renting a truck, as well as coverage for when you're off paved roads, because you'll be doing that a lot, and not all credit card companies cover trucks, and they don't always cover you when you're off-road. Also, make sure they provide international coverage. Personally, we purchase the rental car agency insurance when we travel outside the United States and use credit card coverage when we're renting back home.
What side of the road do you drive on? On Bonaire, you drive on the right, just like in the Netherlands and in the United States. Is it easy to get around or navigate Bonaire? Yes, it's very easy, and your car rental agency will provide you with a map.
Where's the best place to buy gas? There are 3 main gas stations. There's one just off the traffic circle at Calle International and Calle Industria. This is the closest to the airport and in my experience the busiest. I try my best to avoid this one if at all possible. There's another one on Calle Neerlandia and a third on Calle Corona close to where it intersects with Calle Caribe. This is the station I try to use most often. There's also a fourth station, it's in Rincon. Regardless of the station, you must pay before pumping or leave your credit card with the attendant prior to pumping your gas if you're filling all the way up. There's no pay at the pump. Are there grocery stores on Bonaire? Yes, good grocery stores. We've even got a video that walks you through them. I'll put a link in the description as well as put the video up here. So yes, people on Bonaire need groceries just like you do. What's expensive, what's cheap, what do things cost here on Bonaire? Most things are somewhat similar in price, maybe a little higher than the United States. Some things like produce and beer are definitely more expensive. One thing I will mention is you'll pretty much find anything you need in the grocery stores here. It may not be the brand you're looking for. It may be a Dutch brand as you would expect, or some other brand. But you can pretty much find what you need. But if there's something you absolutely have to have a specific item for a specific brand, bring it with you. Other than that, you're going to be just fine. Is there a pharmacy on Bonaire? Yes, there are a few pharmacies on Bonaire. They offer over-the-counter medications as well as prescription drugs if the prescription is written by a local medical provider. Keep in mind, the Bonaire pharmacies may not be as well stocked as what you're used to at home. Does Bonaire have good Wi-Fi? Yes, it does. Wi-Fi on Bonaire is pretty good in our experience. We've never had issues with casual use when at our hotels or rental villas. How is the cell phone service on Bonaire? It's okay in some areas, pretty good as a matter of fact. It's terrible to non-existent in others depending on where you are on the island. If you purchase a local SIM card, it's fairly good, once again, depending on where you are. How should I communicate with others while I'm on the island? We find that many businesses use the app WhatsApp, as well as many of the local residents, so we use that when we're here. We also find that it's great to communicate with folks back home, so we can do video calls or regular phone calls or texting, all at no cost through WhatsApp, as long as you have Wi-Fi. Are there good restaurants on Bonaire? Yes, there are great restaurants. Bonaire is truly a destination for foodies. You'll be surprised how many great restaurants there are for a relatively small island. The food here is great. Do you need restaurant reservations for dinner on Bonaire? Yes, Bonaire has become a popular travel destination and our restaurants are busy, especially at night. I definitely recommend dinner reservations for the nicer sit-down restaurants. Many Bonaire restaurants have online reservations, so book in advance prior to your arrival on island. Do you tip the wait staff here on Bonaire in restaurants? Yes, as well as activity guides for things like your caving excursion or lessons you may take for scuba or windsurfing. Yes, you do tip 10 to 20% depending on the activity or where you are for the restaurant. One thing to keep in mind when tipping, when paying with a credit card, is you're not always required to sign the credit card slip, so you may not have an opportunity to add tip on your credit card. So make sure you always have a little bit of cash with you so you can tip the wait staff. Are there food delivery services like DoorDash and Uber Eats? Yes, there is one. It's called Dinner in a Box, and many of the local restaurants participate with Dinner in a Box. Liz and I have used them in the past, and it really does work out well. How's the nightlife on Bonaire? Well, in general, the nightlife is more relaxed. Bonaire isn't known for being a party destination, but don't worry, you'll still find plenty of restaurants and bars in which to socialize. What should I wear on Bonaire? In general, Bonaire is a casual island. Out and about during the day, you'll be fine in shorts and t-shirts or non-see-through cover-ups for the ladies. For dinners out there, you'll definitely see folks dressed up nicer. This is a vacation destination, but it's also an island where folks live and they like to dress up and go out for a nice evening on the town. For Liz and I, usually I'm wearing shorts and a collared shirt, whether it be a button-down or a golf shirt, and Liz is usually wearing a sundress. Are there mosquitoes on Bonaire? Yes. Yes. Yes, there are mosquitoes on Bonaire and no see them, so make sure you bring insect repellent. You can also buy it here on the island. There are certain times of year where they're worse, typically the lower wind months, September, October-ish, but you will encounter mosquitoes year-round. If you're like me and mosquitoes love you, just be prepared to put on the insect repellent and just know that they are here.
What are the best beaches on Bonaire? Well, first of all, Bonaire isn't known for its beaches. It's got more of a rocky shoreline. But with that said, if you do want to put your toes in the sand, there are several options. There's Sorbonne Beach, which is down south, Te Amo Beach, which is near downtown Kralendijk. There's Waiaka 2, which is inside Washington Park. Or behind me, there's No Name Beach over on Klein Bonaire. To be honest, any patch of sand you find on Bonaire is a pretty awesome beach.
I heard you should leave your truck unlocked at beaches and dive sites. Is this true? Yes, as mentioned earlier, petty theft is a thing or can be a thing here on Bonaire. When at the dive sites and remote areas, leave your truck doors unlocked and your windows rolled down. And don't leave anything of value in your vehicle while you're out diving or snorkeling or away from the truck. Now, a ratty pair of flip-flops or an old towel or t-shirt probably will not be bothered. That's not going to be an issue. But certainly don't leave camera equipment sitting out in plain view or nice things or prescription eyewear that you might need. The general rule of thumb is if you can't live without it, don't leave it in the truck, right? So once again, it's not like it's going to happen every time. It's not like petty theft is rampant, but it does happen, especially in these remote areas. So don't leave anything of value out in plain sight. If you can't live without it, don't bring it with you when you're out diving and hanging out on the beach.
So what should you do with your stuff while you're diving or snorkeling? There's several options. You can take it with you in a dry box. You can hide it somewhere close under a bush or something, or you can leave it back at your hotel or villa.
Is there anything to do on Bonaire other than dive? Yes, absolutely. There are so many things to do on Bonaire other than scuba diving. We've even made a video all about the things you can do. I'll link it up here as well as pin it to the end of the video. I only have one day on Bonaire. What should I do? The question is asked so much that we have a separate video dedicated to answering just that question. I'll link the video up here as well as put a link in the video description below. What is the airport arrival procedure? Well, upon arrival, you'll exit the plane onto the tarmac. There are no jetways. The larger flights to plane from both the front and rear of the plane, so don't hesitate to grab a seat in one of the last rows on the plane. You'll be outside when you clear passport control. The area is partially covered, but there's a good chance you'll be out under the hot sun, so keep that in mind. Sunscreen, hats, things like that. Once through passport control, you'll immediately be into baggage claim, which is covered. It's not air conditioned, but you're well out of the sun. Grab your bags, which may take some time, and head out into the greeting area because customs rarely, if ever, checks your bags. The greeting area is somewhat small, and there will be resort greeters and taxis waiting. If you've rented a car from an agency whose office is at the airport, head straight across the parking lot to the rental car areas and get there as soon as you can because those lines get very long and it's a very slow process. It's great if you can rent from someone off-site or someone who actually meets you there at the airport with the vehicle. What is the airport departure procedure? Now, unfortunately, most of us, we have to leave the island at some point. Check-in desk open about 3 hours prior to departure for international flights, 2 hours for domestic flights. I recommend arriving somewhat on the early side if you're traveling on a Saturday, especially if you want to seat in the waiting area, which is somewhat small and can get very congested. I also recommend eating prior to entering the waiting area. There is one small restaurant there. Sometimes they run out of food. There's just not a lot to offer in there. Once you check in, though, you'll proceed to security. One line. When the line gets long, you may have to stand out in the hot sun, although they do kind of wind you in as best they can under the cover. You'll be under a covered area the closer you get to the security doors, then inside the air conditioning just before the screening tables. Once again, typically there's just one line for screening. Immediately after security, you'll be at passport control, then on into the waiting area. Are there electrical outlets at the airport departure gate area? Not many. There's one small electrical outlet kiosk. It's best to bring a power bank with you. Are taxis readily available at the airport and around town? There are taxis on Bonaire, however, they are not readily available. You'll definitely find them at the airport after your flight lands, but other than that, you need to arrange their services. Contact your resort or rental agency for assistance. There are no rideshare services like Uber or Lyft. What if there's not a direct flight to Bonaire on my desired date of travel? Well, depending on the time of year, Bonaire may not have incoming international flights every day from where you're traveling from. So what can you do in that instance? Well, of course, you can change your day of travel to a date where there is an international flight. You can also look into flying into Aruba or Curacao and then getting on a smaller airline and puddle jumping over to Bonaire. Well, folks, that's it. Those are some of the most frequently asked questions about Bonaire and traveling here. We hope you found some valuable information in this video. If you did, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. I know that seems ridiculous to ask you to click that little button, but it makes a big difference. We hope you'll subscribe to the channel as well. If you haven't, what are you waiting for? Just click that button and request notifications too. But once again, we hope you found this video helpful. We're gonna hop back in the ocean. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.